There was one that didn't make the cut. Yeah.
No,
that's right.
even at the very start of the band, we said no to that one.
That's rough.
Must have been a bad song.
Yeah, that was not a good one. What's up? It's Why Don't We?
Hey.
And today we are highlighting some of the biggest moments over our career. So we were solo artists before Why Don't We existed. And we all kind of got our starts in various ways. Corbin and I started on this live streaming website called younow.com. And we were on there. I remember seeing him on there actually and commenting on your stream.
Yeah, I always thought he was really intimidating because he had more viewers than I did, and he was just cool. And I was a nerd, so.
Yeah, but anyways, we all started in different ways. Daniel was on American Idol. Met Jack at a random show in LA. And then Jack was actually the one who hit us all up and was like, hey, like, if you guys want to come out to LA, my uncle is down to pay for your flights to come out, which was like, okay, cool, let's go to LA for a week and hang. And that's where we just kind of caught a vibe for the first time. Yeah, so we released Taking You like a week after we started the band. So quick. And I remember that, I think that was the first song we ever recorded. Was it?
No.
What was? Oh, there was one before. There was
Can't
Lovers. There was one that didn't make the cut. Yeah.
No,
that's right.
even at the very start of the band, we said no to that one.
That's rough.
Must have been a bad song.
Yeah, that was not a good one.
For MTV, it was called Summer Camp Lovers.
Yes.
And
I don't think we've ever brought this song up to anybody, so.
no, we haven't. That's the first time.
Rightfully so.
That's the first time we've ever spoken about it.
Where were we when we found out?
We
We were living with our manager, and we had a pretty big buzz online going. Things were going well on the online world. Yeah, so our managers were like, these big label execs want to meet you, and we were like, what? Like, we were like 15.
But it was cool that there was
dude.
there was like 4 labels over there.
Yeah, and we played for them all, and Craig Kalman came up, the chairman of Atlantic, and he was just like the coolest guy. Like, I don't know, Atlantic just, really seemed to understand, that we were a bit more fast-paced. We had been doing things online, and they respected, that we wanted to just keep the ball rolling.
I think still to this day, that might have been the craziest adrenaline rush I've ever had, was walking on stage at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
It was like a small 10-minute set, so it was shorter than most shows we've ever done. But like, we just had this 10 minutes to kill it, and we went up, and it was really, really crazy.
It went by like that.
Yeah. And then we got off stage, and this dude was waiting for us. He's like, yo, come with me. And we're like, okay, I guess. I mean, that sounds way more sketchy than it really was, but we followed this guy, and he led us back to this door, and we went through it, and then it's Taylor Swift's dressing room, and Taylor and Ed were in there, and we had this whole conversation, and they were really cool, and they were like, I remember my first time playing Madison Square Garden.
2004.
Like how did it feel? And like, they were like so excited for us, and it was just such a reality check moment. I remember in the middle of my conversation, like, I'd be in the middle of a sentence, like talking to them, and then it would click in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm saying this to Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift right now. Like, this is so strange.
Ryan Reynolds was in there too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I was like, Deadpool?
I think 8 Letters probably would be the biggest impact of a song we've had.
Yeah, and that was our first real project we had done with Atlantic Records too, which was really cool. And there was like a whole writing camp that we did for that album where we had like 3 or 4 studios going at a time, all with writers and producers, and
crazy.
We would pop in and out of sessions based on songs that we loved and songs that were just starting or being finished. And then we settled on that final 8. And then that album, the 8 Letters album, took us on a world tour, and that was like our first real proper world tour. Yeah, we all got tattoos because of the 8 Letters album, and we all actually got these on the last show of the tour, which was in Auckland, New Zealand. There was this artist out there. I think I had messaged her and was like, hey, we have a show tonight. Can we get tattoos after the show? And she was so kind, and she stayed up till 2 or 3 a.m. with us, really tattooing. Yeah, and then we flew home back to America, and that was the 8 Letters tour. So it's forever on our bodies now.
I think my favorite session we ever had was recording Fallen.
Yeah.
Fallen was the first song off of this album. The first song we were planning to release, fully written and produced by us. And I don't know, there's this crazy freedom in the studio of us just doing whatever we wanted with the song. That was really fun and exciting. And yeah, Fallen, I think it's our highest peaking song on Billboard, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool to
just
watch.
got certified gold or platinum in Singapore.
In Singapore, which is
Crazy. When we were writing Fallen, there was definitely a feeling in the room where we didn't really question it at all. Like we wrote the lyrics and the melodies, and usually at least we'll listen back and be like, could we, make this part better? Or like, we're pretty critical. And with that one, it was just like, we knew that it added up really well
And it's
together.
because like we made it,
Yeah.
so it's different. It was a different feeling.
Typically it seems like an artist finds their identity and then the success. And for us, we found the success and now really found our identity. And I would say Fallen was the first song that we recorded in the studio where we were like, this is Why Don't We? We found Why Don't We?
Yeah.
So there was this crazy, like, magical feeling in the studio where we were like, damn, like 3 years into this, we finally like know who we are, and it was cool to equally watch it do as well as it has so far, especially in the midst of COVID, quarantine, and all that.
Yeah.
We can't even perform it live, which is typically half of what makes a song go.
The album has been announced.
The album's announced, yo. And so I'm really excited for this album to come out right now. And then, whatever we put out next, whenever we put it out, I have a feeling we'll end up putting out something else before we tour again. And I'm really excited for our next show to be entirely different than what any of our tours were in the past. This album is 10 songs, and our next one will be at least 10, I can imagine, which is a 20-song set. And, our last tours were like between 20 and 25 songs on a set. So the entire show is gonna feel new and exciting, and
Now we'll still do the classics. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
For
We
sure.
gotta do
Yeah.
Taking
Man,
You.
we ain't forgetting about how
Big
fun those
Plans,
songs
8
are.
Letters.
Summer Camp
Except
Lovers.
something different when I do.
Yeah. We probably won't do something.
Summer Camp Lovers.
When we recorded Fallen, 2 of us were just coming out of the woods of COVID, so we just had it. And then I think it was Jack and Corbin had COVID while we were recording it, so we had to each take turns going into Daniel's at-home studio, and then Daniel would like go in a hazmat suit and like Lysol the whole studio down and like wipe everything down in between takes and stuff. It was
Studio
definitely
literally
crazy.
smelled like a doctor's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely had to make some sacrifices though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
Lotus Inn was literally written for a stadium. That was like the main
Yeah.
purpose of Lotus Inn was
Crazy.
we were like, if we get to the point of stadiums, this song will slap.
Yeah.
I saw you moving on the dance floor. I caught you looking over at me and my friends. Got my attention, now I want more.
I've
Yeah.
seen a couple fan edits online too. They do like the empty arena, empty stadium.
Yeah, with like
things.
tons of reverb.
Yeah,
and
tons of
sound.
reverb, and
yeah.
it sounds pretty cool.
Stay.
Yeah, Stay took the longest.
Stay took the longest. Be Myself was tough to write, I would say.
Okay.
Because Be Myself is a very honest song.
For me, I would say it was selling out Microsoft Theater here in LA.
I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a big one.
crazy.
It's just massive.
For me, I think the highlight was playing 4 shows in the Netherlands. We played 2 sold-out nights in Utrecht, and then 2 sold-out nights in Tilburg. And the reason is because my mom grew up in the Netherlands. She lived there for like 25 years or so. So I'm literally half Dutch, and my whole life, up until being in this band, I had never gotten the chance to actually go to the Netherlands. I got to meet my cousins for the first time at a Why Don't We show. And I was like, wow, this band has brought me back to like sort of my home soil in a way, and brought my family back together. So that was a really cool moment where I was like, damn, okay.
I think for me, just being on the Jingle Ball tour was just crazy.
Yeah, that's also a good one.
I lived in Dallas, so every time they would put on a Jingle Ball in Dallas, I would go out there and perform just out front of the Jingle Ball. While people were walking in, I'd perform and just sing some of my own stuff or sing covers. And then one day, my dad and we decided to like get tickets from scalpers outside. So we went into the Jingle Ball, but we got tickets like behind the stage. But it was cool to actually go in and see that. But that's when I didn't even know I was joining the band. You know,
Who
like,
was
oh
on the
my God.
lineup then?
One Direction was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember being like, oh my God, they're so sick. Like, look at them. I see them getting ready down there for this, you know, for their performance.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it's crazy that we were doing that, and now it's just like, yeah, we've done it many times. You know?
Yeah.
It's just cool.
I think for me, probably the standout moment was last summer we did the Minnesota State Fair. I grew up in Minnesota, and like that was like my uncle and aunt owned this business there, and like I would go to all the shows usually. So we played there last summer, and like just to have my whole family there and like reminisce to like sitting out there and hearing the bands like sound check in the grandstand every day. It was just really, really like full circle.
That show was so cool too. On the last song, they launched fireworks.
Dude, that was insane.
And so we did our song I Don't Belong in This Club was like our closer. And it was like, I don't belong in this club. We did our bow and then the fireworks shot and it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I was like,
That was a good moment. We didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
And we were like thinking some gun went off or something. We were
Yeah.
freaking out. We look up
Yeah,
and there's
dude.
fireworks. And we're like, oh!
we're like, holy shit, our show
We're
is
like, all right, have a
fireworks.
good night. We love you.
Bye. Yeah. Freaking out. Stand-up moment for me was probably meeting Ed Sheeran and just picking kind of at his brain and like getting to ask him questions I like dreamed of asking him. If you look back at any old video of like who inspires you, and I'd always say Ed Sheeran. And I never in my life thought I would ever meet the guy. It was crazy to see him in person and realize like, you know, he's just a guy that made it too. And it really put it into perspective for me. Like,
just
you
a
can
dude,
do it,
yeah.
you know?
Well, thank you so much for watching. We are Why Don't We? And this has been the highlights.
Thank you.